Baseball fans, it is time once again for another episode of Planes, Trains, Buses, and Ballparks. With over 50 years in professional baseball and making a multitude of fantastic relationships along the way, Frank Coppenbarger shares great stories with weekly guests from various areas inside of the game. It's all here on the Fans First Sports Network. Let's get ready to play ball. Here's Frank Coppenbarger.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Planes, Trains, Buses, and Ballparks. And today we've got a real treat. Longtime Major League manager, the great Charlie Manuel is our guest. Charlie, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you, Frank. Good to be on your show.
Good to have you. We finally got you on here. So I'm going to, right from the beginning, I'm going to tell a little story that I always like to tell. My first year working around a ballpark was in 1967. I was an 11-year-old fifth grader back in my hometown in Decatur, Illinois. And we had a Class A farm club of the San Francisco Giants in the Midwest League. And on the very first game I bat boyed, believe it or not, I was on the same field with this guy. Charlie Manuel was a 23-year-old outfielder for the Wisconsin Rapids Twins back then, and he spoiled all the fun on opening night. He went 4 for 5 and had a game-winning homer, and they beat our Decatur Commodores in the season opener. That was my first game ever working in professional baseball, and you're going to say, well, how would you remember something like that? Well, my dad, never dreaming that I was going to spend the next 50 years of my life hanging around the ballpark, kept a scrapbook of the whole season with all the newspaper clippings and photographs and scorebooks and all that stuff. And he gave it to me for Christmas that year, figuring that was a one-time deal, a one-year experience of what it was like to be around professional baseball. None of us knew that 41 years later, Charlie and I would be standing next to each other in the Phillies dugout about to win the World Series. And that's a heck of a story, isn't it, Charlie?
That's a great story for it, Frank, but you got to tell him that I went 4 for 5, stole 2 bases, and went long tater indicator.
You sure did. It was a game winner on top of it. Well, you did pretty well that year. You nearly won the Triple Crown. You won the league batting championship and finished second in home runs and second in RBIs. But terrific year. But let's back it up just a little bit. You were born in West Virginia, but you grew up in Virginia. And in 1963, you signed with the Minnesota Twins from your hometown there and went and joined the Twins farm system, worked your way up. By 67, you were in Wisconsin Rapids playing there, and that's when you beat up on my Decatur ball club there on opening day, and you beat up on everybody that summer. And by 69, you were in the big leagues. You made the opening day roster for the Twins right out of spring training. And you spent parts of 4 years there with Minnesota. And you got traded before the 74 season to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you played a couple years for them. So talk about that first year in 69 when you made the club, and what were you thinking when you finally made it?
Well, I was really happy, man. But it started spring training because I got the locker between Harmon Killebrew and Bob Allison.
Wow.
And both those guys were star players. I felt like I was a king or something. And I was happy as hell. I made our team. And actually, I did real good for about 5 weeks or a month. And after that, I slid in second base in Chicago one day. And they had tie down bags at that time, and the bag was not tied in, and I slid and I broke my ankle. And then from that time on, like I had trouble getting on the field. I stayed in the big leagues for got 6 years in, but at the same time, I hardly ever got to play. I went 2 years and played one inning one time, and I hit at the end of the game.
You were kind of a pinch hit guy there the last couple of years.
I was a straight pinch hit guy.
Yeah.
Walter Austin used to tell me, Frank, he says, you know why you're on a team, because you can't run and we can't, so therefore you can't play the field, but you can out hit any pitcher in baseball.
Well, no doubt about that. You can hit for sure. So in '76, you decided to make a real big jump all the way across the Pacific Ocean to Japanese baseball. And
right.
How did that all come about, Charlie?
That came, they evidently saw me play in spring training. Nobi Kiwanis, it was he was worked for the Dodgers.
Clubhouse manager.
Yeah. And he recommended me to Japan. And
how about that?
Then the Dodgers sold me to Japan. I gave them a position to sell me to Japan, and I went over and played for 6 years.
Yeah, you sure did. You played for the Yakult Swallows and later the Kintetsu Buffaloes.
Right.
And Charlie, you were a big star over there.
Frank, what happened was the first year I played over there, after a month of playing in the season, I was running up around the foul line, and I got over on this near the wall, and my shoe got hung underneath the pad, and I pulled my left foot out, and that was a foot that I had a pin in my leg, and my shoe came off, and I stepped on a water pipe, preferably water pipe, and I almost cut my heel off.
Oh, wow.
And then I missed a lot of the season, and I came in back next year, and when I healed and everything like that, I could hit on, I could stay on my backside and hit, and end up hit like 42 home runs that year, and then I played hit 300, and in 4 years I think I hit like 189 home runs.
That's pretty amazing. So you were the Pacific League most valuable player in 1979. Actually, in '78, you guys won the Japanese World Series when you were with Yakult, and you were a huge fan favorite over there.
Yeah.
Talk about some of your memories just living in Japan, and what was it like?
Well, when I ordered food, they never bring what I ordered. They'd tell me how they just bring what they wanted to give me, I guess, because they figured I didn't know what I was doing. And I used to get mad at them, cuss them and stuff.
Did you point at pictures, or how did it work?
Yeah. I'll tell you a good little story. We was eating one night in Nagoya, and we was having this Korean barbecue, and the meat was real red looking, but it was good. And I start talking with this Japanese guy. He didn't know too much about English, and I pointed to an egg, and he goes pigeon, and like he drew a pigeon on top of a hotel, but made us fine. And then he got tell him my meat was good, like oishi nay. That means the meat's good. And he looked at me, and he goes like this. He goes, yeah. So
horse, horse meat.
That was the truth. But
so,
go ahead.
Did you learn how to speak Japanese pretty quickly?
No, not quickly, but I learned quite a bit from 6 years there. But I basically it wasn't hard for me because I had an interpreter, and he told me everything I wanted to know. Yeah,
so he could tell you how to say certain words and
exactly
what they meant, and then pretty soon you knew it for yourself. That's pretty good.
Right. I had actually, Frank, I enjoyed playing there. I had a great season, a great career there, really, and I was lucky enough to make some money, and it really
Yeah.
helped me out as far as my career goes. But yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
but I enjoyed playing there, and it was fun, and had a great time, and but after 6 years, I was ready to go home. Come home.
They have a nickname for you or anything like that?
They call me Akaoni. I mean, it's Red Devil. That
Red
was
Devil.
that was my nickname.
Oh, how about that? So the Red Devil had 48 home runs in 1980.
Right.
That's pretty
Yeah.
darn good. And I
Yeah.
don't care what country it is.
But you like Mike Smith kid him sometime because he hit 48 and led the major leagues that year.
Yeah,
So he didn't beat me.
that's right. He tied you.
Yeah.
So you retired after 81, and in 82, you got right back with the Twins organization.
Right.
And the first thing you did for them was a scouting job.
Right.
And then the next year, you were manager of Wisconsin Rapids.
Yeah.
Back there again.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, because I used to hear you say this to our players in Philadelphia in spring training, that one of the reasons you decided you wanted to be a manager was you liked to take BP. And you knew you could still take batting practice if you were the manager. So is that true?
That's true, Frank. I managed 10 years in the minor leagues, and basically I managed because I like to take BP. I used to hit every day. In the big leagues, Frank, when I was over in Cleveland, I hit till, I was about 64, 65 years old when I quit hitting.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you moved right on up the ladder with the Twins, AA 2 years, then AAA 2 years. And then in 88, you got the job with the Cleveland, then they were called the Indians.
Right.
Cleveland Indians as their hitting coach. You were there 88, 89. And then in 1990, you went back to the minor leagues as a manager again.
Right.
And some of the players you had were just incredible. Albert Bell, Carlos Baerga, Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome. That's just naming a few of them.
Right.
And it's no wonder the Indians were really good there in the mid-90s
Right.
for about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
They had some great players, and you developed all those guys.
Yeah, we had we put a lot of time in, Frank, but we had a great talent, and I loved my guys, and I work with every guy on the team all the time. We practice the morning before I get up on the road and go to ballpark at 10 o'clock, and we'd hit to like 12, and then we would take time off for lunch, and I'd put it on the Indians card, and and then we'd go back and hit extra at 2:30, and then we hit a regular time like at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Yeah, we did it every day.
Yeah, and you jumped in there with them too, huh?
Every day.
Did you hit in a group yourself, or just whenever you wanted to?
No, in the big leagues, I hit. We had 3 groups in Cleveland. I organized 3 groups, and I hit each. We'd take a time like today. I might be hitting 1, 2, 3 like that, and just rotate around.
Right.
So my players, I remember Eddie Murray told me one day, I was up there and I was sitting getting ready to go hit. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You're not in our group today." I said, "Hell, I ain't." And he says, "Okay, go down and hit, but don't run your mouth."
So now you're managing in the minor leagues. Your 92 team won in Colorado Springs. You won the Pacific Coast League championship, and you were the Coast League Manager of the Year that year. And in 93, they moved the AAA club to Charlotte. Yeah. And you guys won the International League. You were winning all the time.
Right. Yeah, Frank. We had a big time teams. I mean, every minor league team I had, my first one wasn't real good, but we finished over 500, and we almost won the world's pennant that year. We came from 27 games back in Wisconsin Rapids, and went ahead of Appleton on Sunday, and by half a game we beat them, and then they come back on Monday and beat us and won the title. But all of my teams,
Wow.
we had great players.
Well, some of those Indians guys, I mean, those guys were all-stars, every one of them.
Right.
You mentioned Eddie Murray. I didn't even have him on the list. Hall of Famer. Jim Thome, Hall of Famer.
Right.
You had special relationships with those guys, and
right.
I'm sure that came from all those hours you put in around that cage every day.
Yeah, right. I don't like to brag on myself, but I will tell you something. We had the best work ethic in the minor leagues. And I'm telling you, but also we had 2 AAA teams that won championships back to back.
Right.
Frank, we scored over 1,000 runs in Colorado. I think it was like 1,125 or something. Came back the next year in Charlotte and scored over almost right at 1,200.
Oh, wow.
And
So
it was good.
They couldn't even say that the Colorado was all that light air because you did it in hot, humid Charlotte too. That's pretty
exactly.
Impressive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Charlie, let's take a little break and we'll come back and we'll talk about you getting back to the big leagues in just a minute.
Okay.
All right, we're back with Charlie Manuel, and where we left off, he had just got finished winning the AAA championship as the manager of the Indians AAA team in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the year before in Colorado Springs in the Pacific Coast League. And 94, you're back in the big leagues as a hitting coach again with Cleveland. And with all those guys you managed in the minors, they were all coming up now to the big club.
Yeah,
and you guys were just a machine, a hitting machine. Talk about some of those guys, Charlie, and Jim Thome. I'd like you to talk on him.
Yeah,
he's kind of like a son to you. So
yeah, I had him about 15 years. But
talk about Thome. Yeah,
Frank, Thome was good. When I first saw Thome, he was really green. I'm telling you, if I stick him in the ground, he would grow. I'm telling you. But he could do one thing really good. He was strong, and when he hit the ball, he'd come off the bat good.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate that he's very coachable. Probably one of the best coachable guys I've ever been around. He'd listen and things like that, and he loved to hit. And now you take him out hitting every day extra and things like that. And he had trouble pulling the ball back in those days, and so I get mad at him and hit him with the ball when he was playing BP.
You were throwing?
I'd be throwing. I was throwing hard too, Frank. I was a great BP pitcher. One of the best of them. Look, and but he hit all the time, and he developed real good, and he was outstanding. I love Thome. He's my son, but
no doubt.
But like Thome was only he's one of them. But our teams in Cleveland, we had small ball, we could bunt, we could top of a lineup. We had 3 switch hitters, and we could play the small ball, but also had power, and we had power hitters, and they also hit for a high average and things like that.
Yeah.
I think we led the league in hitting and home runs, I think. But if we didn't leave any homers, I would be surprised. I remember. I think we did.
Well, you had Kenny Lofton too. I forgot to drop him in there.
I had Kenny Lofton, had Viagra, and then later on we got Alomar, but our first three hitters were switch hitters. Good,
Wow.
great
And,
lineup.
and good ones, yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Exactly.
but also we could play small ball goal. We could bunt. I've seen us bunt the top of an order, bunt 1, 2, 3 bunts and get hits. Really.
Amazing. And then those big guys coming in
Yeah,
just to chase
exactly.
them around the
Yeah,
bases.
right. Yeah, we had some big power.
So from 95 to 99, you're the hitting coach over there in Cleveland. Your 95 and 97 teams both made it to the World Series. 95, you got knocked off by Atlanta, and 97 by the Marlins in a really great World Series.
Right.
Both of them. But
right.
doesn't take away from the fact how good the Indians were for a decade. They were the best team.
I tell you something. We from an offensive standpoint, and also we had a good defense too, Frank. We just lack a little starting pitching and a middle of a run bullpen, and that was our downfall in the playoffs too. Was our bullpen.
Yeah. So now while you're doing all this, you're battling all kinds of personal illnesses. You had terrible health issues. You had a heart attack. You had kidney cancer. I mean, you kept coming back from one thing after another. You had your gallbladder removed one time. I mean, heck, even in a couple years ago, you had a stroke, and you're still right there going after it every day. But in 2000, you get named the Indians manager.
Yeah, right.
And you're there until like June of 2002. Right. And really, really pretty impressive. It's nice and well deserved that they considered you for the manager spot. Right. And it was definitely good training because something was going to happen to you a little later on that you put all that management experience to good use.
Right.
But by 2002, Jim Thome had left Cleveland and had signed with the Phillies as a free agent. That was definitely the change of how the Philadelphia Phillies did business with his signing. I'll never forget it. I mean, for example, he had his family there when he signed his contract. We gave him the entire top floor of the Ritz-Carlton downtown Philly. Sweet for him and his family. We didn't do things like that before. Right. But this was a big acquisition.
Right.
And he really turned the fortunes of baseball around in Philadelphia. And shortly after, you joined the Phillies as a special assistant to Ed Wade. What were you doing there in the very beginnings of that job?
I was in spring training. I went and scouted the Yankees, Cardinals, about 3 or 4 teams, and then when the season started, I went through the minor leagues, talked hitting to the guys, and kind of scouted them out and evaluate their talent they had. And I remember coming in and sitting down with Ed and evaluating every one of them. And I liked the job, but I like also working at the minor league level with the Phillies in.
Yeah. Well, after the 2004 season, they let Larry Bowa go as the Phillies manager. And what's really amazing is that you and Larry Bowa are such close friends now, and you spend basically every day with each other. But that's just a funny part about baseball and how things seem to work out. But Larry was let go, and you're named the Phillies manager. And quite honestly, when they named you the manager, it didn't go over all that well in Philadelphia. The fans couldn't understand it. You're kind of a back home country guy, and that's not a back home country city. And it wasn't that easy in the beginning. But I'll tell you what, they're fans of yours now. So in 05 and 06, we got pretty close, but we fell a little bit short. We couldn't quite get there to the wild card.
Right.
But in '07, we were 7.5 games out of the Eastern Division, trailing the Mets with 17 days to go, and miraculously came back and overtook the Mets on the last day of the season. And Charlie, that was really special.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, I remember talking to Pat Gillick before we went on this trip to play the Mets.
Yeah.
And he said, we better start playing some of our players for next year. I said, hell, what are you telling me? We're going to win.
Yeah.
He says, no, like hell, we're going to win. Hey, and I told him every game we're going to win from our own out, and I missed it by one game. St. Louis beat us one time.
Yeah.
And I think we won we won 3 out of 4 for St. Louis, and came over and Washington beat us 1 out of 3, and we beat the Mets, called them and beat them.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him that, and I think about it a lot. I still think about it. But I had a great feeling that year. Bill, I'm telling you, every year we played, I thought we could win. But I believe it. But at the same time, but winning in that '07, that was big. But I think the biggest thing was the lesson that we learned out of it. We still need to do more to win a World Series. And I think at '08 we stayed real focused on what we was doing, and we got the job done. And you got to be lucky, but you also got to play good. And our team, I loved our teams every year. Every team I had in Philly, I liked them. I mean, they were good. They were good teams. And I'm sitting here talking to you today because my players, when I started managing the minor leagues, my players put me in the big leagues. It wouldn't be because I was popular or somebody liked me and loved me, nothing like that. But it was up to my players made them love me.
Well, I'm going to get to that in a little bit here about your players in Philadelphia, but I want to tell one story because we've already talked a little bit about hitting and how much you love to hit and how you used to take BP as a manager and coach. And one of my favorite memories of Charlie was always the first big meeting of spring training with the whole team. And Charlie'd come out of his office and he'd have this legal pad and he'd have all these things written down that he wanted to cover. And he'd get out in the middle of the room and he'd start walking around the room carrying that legal pad, and then he'd look down at it and he'd say something. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of his eye, he'd see like Jim Thome in front of his locker, or Chase Utley, or Jimmy Rollins, or Ryan Howard. And he'd lose track of what he was talking about. And he'd put the legal pad down on the table and he'd say, "We got a hit, right, Chase?" And you'd look at Utley. And then the next thing you do, for about 15 minutes, they stopped the whole meeting and talked about hitting and how much batting practice we needed to take and everything else. And I think there was a few times you couldn't even remember where you put that legal pad. But it was great. I'll never forget that. But getting back to that '07 team, if you remember that last day, the regular season,
right.
The Marlins were playing the Mets in New York, and they started their game a half hour before we did.
Yeah, right.
And we're in the clubhouse, and it's getting close to game time for us, and we have to win.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you hear this just roar of the crowd. They were just cheering like crazy.
Right.
And I never forget, I ran down the dugout to look at the scoreboard out in right field, and the Marlins got a touchdown in the first inning, 7-0, and things felt pretty good about that point.
Right.
And then we took care of it ourselves, so it was a great day.
Looking back, Frank, I think that Jimmy Rollins made a defensive play at shortstop. It turned to double play, and if he hadn't did that, I would probably we'd probably had to play the Mets in a playoff game, and
Yeah.
we didn't. That didn't happen. So we won. We clinched a tie. We would have clinched a tie, but
Right.
we won the division. If we
Right.
hadn't won our division, Cole Hamels wouldn't have been our pitching wouldn't have lined up like it had.
Yeah.
But Hamels was hot, pitching outstanding, and he really had a great series and playoff, and he pumped us over the hill too.
So in 07, now we win that East, NL East, and then we got swept by the hottest team that ever played, the Colorado Rockies. I think they won like 21 out of their last 22 games.
Yeah.
And they swept us, but it might not have been the worst thing, because I think that left a bad taste in everybody's mouth for 08. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. You were talking about me throwing my pad away in spring training in 208. I didn't even have a pad, because I had a great feeling about a team. You could tell we were ready to go.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank, if you stop back, when you think about it, we had a bunch of great guys. And they loved to play with one another. And we had guys in our clubhouse like Chase Utley, Howard, Jimmy Rollins, Lidge, Moyer. Well, we had these guys, and we had a big together team, and we fought and played hard every day. I mean, and like I said, they did a job.
So in 08, we win the NL East again, beat the Brewers in the division series, play the Dodgers, and a couple big moments in that Dodger series out there. Everybody remembers the home run that Matt Stairs hit that nearly went in the parking lot. It really turned the whole series around at that point. But
exactly.
But if Victorino hadn't hit his homer a couple batters before, then that wouldn't have meant anything. We beat the Dodgers, and then we beat Tampa Bay in the World Series, and had a huge parade in Philadelphia that we will never forget. Charlie gave that great speech. Hey, Philadelphia, this is for you. And held up that trophy, and that was a pretty big moment.
That was it's the biggest moment of my career.
Yeah, mine
I love
too.
Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia, Frank. I love all the fans. If you don't like me, I don't care. I love you.
Well, I haven't gotten to that part yet. But in 09, we won the National League Championship again. Unfortunately, we lost in 6 games to the Yankees. They won the World Series. We won it also in 10 and 11. Probably had our best team in 11. But we got knocked off, and that happens. Charlie, while he was there, he remained the Phillies manager till August of 13. He won his 1,000th game. Turned out it was your final game as manager when you won your 1,000th game down in Atlanta. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I will say this: when you left, they let you go. All right. They decided they wanted to make a change as manager. I lived in Philly area for over 30 years. It's a tough city, and every coach or manager or GM that ever came through there that got let go, they wanted to chase them out of the city limits on a rail, except Charlie Manuel. Charlie Manuel, it was the organization's fault. It was everybody's fault. Nobody blamed Charlie. The fans fell in love with Charlie over those 10 years. And, like I said, it didn't go over all that well when you first started, but by the end, you had the whole town eating out of your hand. And I don't think you probably have to buy too many meals or drinks anymore, as long as you're in Philadelphia.
Hey, Frank, when in Philadelphia, I don't have to buy nothing. My food's free, my drinks are free. But when I go to Reading and Lehigh Valley and stuff, I gotta buy guys like breakfast and stuff. Like 2 years ago, I was in Reading and I walked in this breakfast place, and they had a construction company eating there. And I picked up the tab, and the guys they kind of picked me up like I was a hero or something.
Well, you were. Well, the other thing is too, it's not been uncommon, particularly when you first got out as manager,
Yeah.
for you to, and Missy, your wife, to walk in a restaurant and the entire restaurant stand up and start cheering for you. What does that feel like?
I cannot explain it to anyone, really. I'm flattered with it, and it means good. It means great, really.
Yeah.
But I cannot tell you how warm I feel, and it makes you feel good that you feel like the fans love you because you won the World Series and you had a great team and things like that. But and that's good. I was lucky, very very fortunate, and very lucky.
Well,
but listen, Frank, I used to stand in my dugout, but almost every game you be have your head over the dugout on my shoulder, front shoulder, trying to get TV time.
Absolutely. I knew you were going to say that. Well, I wanted my kids to see me because I didn't get to see them that much. So Charlie gets selected to the Phillies Wall of Fame in 2014. And starting that year, and it still continues today, when they introduced the Wall of Famers on the field on Wall of Fame night, the biggest ovation for anyone is for Charlie Manuel. And Mike Schmidt, the greatest Philly player of all time, he'll even agree with that. Charlie always gets the biggest ovation. That really says a lot.
Hey, Frank, let me tell you something. I cannot not tell you how I feel when I walk on the field at Citizen Park. I feel like it. I don't know. I get a warm feeling. I go talk. Even now, I go in the cage and talk to the players about hitting and stuff like that. And I still love the game, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, if you want to find Charlie at the ballpark, it's always a good idea to look at the batting cage first, because he's probably standing right behind it watching guys hit. So, winningest manager in Phillies history. That's how it all ended up for that guy that they didn't think was such a good choice back there in 2005. Turned out to be pretty doggone good. So after managing, you began a long run as a senior advisor to the GM. Yeah. You're still doing that today, and you help with the big club, and then you also go around to the minor leagues and evaluate those guys, right?
Yes. That's basically what my position is, and I'm also kind of doing PR stuff.
Yeah, being Charlie Manuel. Hey, that's important to the Phillies that Charlie Manuel's around. In fact, it was so important that in 2019, Phillies owner John Middleton wasn't happy with the coaching and decided to pull you off your role as an advisor and to put you back as a hitting coach for the rest of that 2019 season. Yeah. That's how much you're thought of, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that we couldn't win that year. I thought we had a chance, but it didn't work out. We lost some games down toward the end and knocked us out.
Yeah. So anyway, Charlie, you're in Clearwater already. Spring training right around the corner. But yesterday was the Hall of Fame vote for this year, and one of your guys really jumped up this year. Chase Utley, 59% of the vote.
Ooh.
He's really moving up quickly, and
Good.
I hope to see both he and Jimmy Rollins in there.
Right.
And Cole Hamels was on for the first time, and he got a decent amount of votes for the first time. But Chase Utley really jumped a lot. What do you think about that?
I think he's very, very deserving. He's a great player.
Yeah.
He loved to play. He's a dirt rat. He's a fighter, man. And Jimmy Rollins, he's all those good leaders. In some ways, Howard one of the leaders.
Yeah.
We can argue about stats on Howard, but for 4 years, he's got best stats anybody ever played the game.
Yeah. I remember
for 4 years. But he hurt his leg and things like that. But the Hall of Fame is, to me, is voted a little different now. Little things change.
Yeah.
Like the analytics, they have a way of different way of grading the player. But before, when I was first started playing Major League Baseball, guys like Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, those guys, they were consistent players for years, like 12, 15 years, and then hit 300 and things like that, and they were Hall of Fame players. Nowadays, you can have like one good year, and that might push you all the way in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it might. Well, Charlie, thanks so much for being my guest today. I've been waiting for this for a year and a half, and we finally got you.
Hey, Frank, just one thing I got to say before you go. Well, I want to say something about a bus driver.
Big Al.
Big Al. I used to get to tell Big Al to get on you. When you got on a bus one night, you said, "Hell, Big Al's too for me be arguing with." I said, "Yeah, be quiet then."
Yeah, that's what I told Boa when he was a manager. He was complaining about the traffic one day going to New York, and I said, "Hey, tell him yourself."
Big Al was part of us too, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
He was a big part of it.
I got a great picture of you and I and Al with the World Series trophy.
Yeah. Frank, there's a lot of people that didn't. We had a good rapport of people that worked around there that was good too.
Oh yeah.
And they were pulling hard for us too.
Couple of your favorites too, Kevin Camasholi, our video
exactly
instant replay guy, who rode to the ballpark with you every day, and your other son, Greg Castriano.
Yeah. What about Big Greg?
Greg.
I hear you. He keeps up with me.
I know.
Yeah,
Charlie, thanks so much for being on.
Thank you,
really
Frank.
Appreciate it, and we'll see you soon. And
fans,
please like, follow, and subscribe to the Fans First Sports Network. We'll be back next week with another exciting guest.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Planes, Trains, Buses, and Ballparks with Frank Coppenbarger. Tune in next week for another great episode on the Fans First Sports Network.